This is the ultimate guide to prong collars. In this video, we're going to teach you everything you need to know so that you get the right prong collar for your dog or puppy. We're talking about what brand, what size, what material, what action, how to put it on, how to properly fit it, and so much more. Plus, a little bit of industry secrets from well over 20 years of experience training both police dogs and civilian dogs to be the best that they can be. Let's just talk about it real quick, why you would even consider using a prong collar. Well, the reason we love using it, it is one of the most natural ways to communicate with your dog because it replicates something that's found in nature. You know what we call it? Mama's teeth. When dogs communicate with each other, they use their teeth, whether they're play biting as young as 4, 5, 6-week-old puppies, 8-week-old puppies, all the way up to adult dogs using their teeth to correct other dogs. This is now our way of having doggy teeth, or what we call mama's teeth, to communicate with a dog. Now let's contrast that with the harness. When's the last time you saw anything in the wild that replicates the harness on a dog? It doesn't exist. All right, before we go any deeper, I want to debunk that myth that prong collars will poke holes in your dog's necks, that'll cause them to bleed, or that will stab them, or anything like that. This is just a basic balloon from the store. I'm going to blow it up, put the prong on, and show you that, especially with Herm Springers, that they purposefully round the tips of these prong collars. It will not poke a hole in a balloon. All right, now that we got the balloon blown up, hopefully this thing is fit to size, snug like a watch. Very snug. You can see that this is actually tighter than I would even have on a dog's neck, but let's go with it. So when they ask, like, does it just sitting on your dog's neck? Is it gonna poke a hole? No, it ain't poking a hole in a freaking balloon. And even when you give gentle leash pressure, such as a sit or a down, it's not gonna cause, first off, it won't even cause any discomfort, but secondly, it's definitely not gonna poke a hole in it. Now, if I wail on this thing, we'll probably pop it, but that's not the point of it. The point is that you can deliver corrections and steer a dog without so much as popping a balloon. And yes, it's a real balloon. Now, if you take a knife, it's gonna pop. So, proof's in the pudding, baby. We're just gonna do a little experiment for you and show you what it's like to receive a correction on a prong collar. I am wearing a jacket because the jacket simulates all that extra fur that your dog has in and around their neck, which again, was designed from the factory to take bites from other dogs, because again, that's how they play, that's how they correct each other. So without further ado, give me a 1. Barely even notice it. Give me a 2. Now give me a 3. Give me a 4. Give me a 5, and just keep going. Look how much power he's got to give.
Yeah, back it up.
Go. Yeah, and at that point, he's just pulling me, but not until he got it to like that 5 or 6 did it even begin to bother me. Now, we can move with no jacket and just bare skin. No fur. It's fit a little loose just because you took the jacket off. Go with a 1. Just not fit quite right, but we'll go with it. 2, good. 3, 4, 5, and then we'll stop there. Because yeah, at that point, it doesn't feel good. But a 5 is a heavy, heavy correction for a dog, and you can see what it is or is not doing to the skin. Yeah, it's gonna irritate it. And again, he gave me multiple heavy pops, but that's the point. This is not supposed to, on higher level corrections, it's not supposed to give your dog a treat. It's supposed to deliver what's called a positive punishment that says when you jump on people, when you eat things on the ground you're not supposed to, you will get a correction. But again, on those milder levels, it's as simple as just, okay, I'll just go this way. It's as easy as that. When used correctly, the dog responds to the prong collar, is very receptive to the prong collar. But we'll pause here and I'll go with a smaller, more powerful unit, and we'll see what levels we get up to with that. Go for a 2, good, and a 3. Good, and a 4, and a 5. Yeah, and again, around the 5, it doesn't feel as good. This has got a little bit more bite, but it's fit better in the sense that it's snug. It's not slipping, sliding, and kind of abrading the skin. It's literally just a puppy bite. It feels like a dog or a puppy kind of pinching your skin or biting it really quickly. This is exactly what it's supposed to feel like. Doesn't kill you, but definitely delivers the message. And once again, with power steering, you can just steer me some way
Let's go.
I know exactly which way to go. There's no desire for me to want to fight that. So with fingertip pressure, he can steer me, and that's the whole point of it. We got the power steering, power brakes, should we need it. All right, so there's many different types of prong collars. I'm gonna make this so simple for you. You need to get a Herm Sprenger, and you need to get one that has a martingale style action. Let me show you what a martingale action is, not even using a prong collar. This is just a regular flat collar with a martingale action on top. This triangle setup you see before you is the martingale action. That allows you to lift in one spot, but it tightens up the whole collar. Now let me show that to you on a martingale actioned prong collar. So here's the prong collar, and here's the martingale action. Same concept. Now, there's other prong collars out there, the Neck Tech, there's a Star Mark, which is a plastic version of the prong collar. There's hidden prong collars, there are so many different variations. Guess what, folks? Get the martingale action prong collar from Herm Sprenger, point blank period. That's what you want. That's gonna give you the most power, the most precision. It's exactly what you need. Everything else is just kind of there. All right, now we're gonna talk about different ways that you can connect your prong collar, basically take it on and off, which you're gonna be doing a lot, so we gotta get this part right. Starting with straight up old school method, no connection whatsoever, and simply pinching the prong to put it in and out. Now this is important. If you go with this old school method, which is tried, true, and tested, you've gotta make sure that you get the male part of the prong into the female part and don't miss the hole. That's what she said, and all jokes aside, if you just get one in, it looks like it's connected, right? This thing ain't connected. What if you just get one in like that? Now that's pretty obvious, but if you have a dog with thick fur, it might be tricky if they're wiggling and moving around to make sure you get it just right. Besides, the more that you do this, pinching it in and out, pinching it in and out, you can actually bend these in and they no longer hold their original shape and they're very easily to slide in and out. So you're just gonna have to come back through every once in a while and bend them back out so that they go back to their original shape. So nothing wrong with the old school method. Let's show you some other options. Some are great, some are horrible. Starting with horrible, the quick release. I hate this thing. It's not easy to put on and it's too easy to come off. So you're holding your dog like this. If you reach down to grab that collar, this thing can come right off just like that. And it's honestly not that easy to put on. It's a pain in the ass. So your dog's wiggling, you're trying to put this on, you go like this, he slips out, you're starting over. Just straight garbage. Take my word on it, folks. The quick release, don't use it. I don't even know why they make those anymore. What about a plastic buckle? Well, you're not gonna find a plastic buckle on anything too decent. On a small dog with a micro prong like this, the plastic really doesn't bother me. We're talking a 5, 10, 15, maybe a 20-pound dog at most. Anything over that, I wouldn't trust the plastic because this will break and then we have a problem. Once again, dog running loose, bad things can happen. So avoid the plastic when you can. If it's a small dog, it's okay. Next up, you can find these on the internet, not bad at all. Use these for a while, I like them, but the problem is it's leather. Leather can age, wear, crack, dry out, and stretch. So it's better than nothing, but look at that quick release. You can't beat that. Easy on, easy off. It's hard to go in the wrong hole or miss it. It clips. Now that we've shown you all the options that we don't really like, let me tell you about an option that we absolutely recommend and we've been using for several years, and that is an all metal construction buckle. Absolutely bomb-proof. This thing has never failed me, nor any of our certified trainers, nor any of our thousands of customers worldwide. This buckle is the way to go. Now, why is that? First and foremost, it won't just come apart on its own. It's not a one push. You must push it on both sides. So your dog's not gonna be able to do that because your dog doesn't have thumbs. That's for sure. Secondly, it's not, if you grab it in any which way, it won't accidentally come undone. You can grab this all different ways. Only if you push it just right will it disconnect. Also, it will not fade over time, it will not stretch, it will not crack, and because it's all metal construction, this thing will not break. Your prong will fail before this buckle will ever fail. So we're really proud of this product. We happen to have our own logo on our custom designed buckles, no matter what size prong collar you're going with. Anything from the smallest to the largest prong collar, except for the 4.0, because we don't believe in using the 4.0 for anything. All right, now let's talk about the different sizes. And by sizes, we're talking about the thickness of them. They come in 5 different sizes: 4.0 millimeter, 3.2 millimeter, 3 millimeter, 2.25, 1.5 millimeter. I'm gonna make this very simple for you. Never, ever, ever is there a reason to buy a 4.0 millimeter. A lot of people get this wrong. A lot of people, even professional dog trainers, think that the bigger the gauge is what you use for a bigger, more powerful dog. Couldn't be further from the truth. The bigger the gauge, the more blunt this is and the less powerful it is. And also, it just looks unattractive. But when you go to pinch this on and off, it's near impossible. So you have to have pretty good grip strength in order to take this on and off. Don't buy it. Moving on to the 3.2. They got a 3.2 and they got a 3.0. For the same exact reasons as the 4.0, the 3.0 has a little more bite, a little more power. So if you had to choose between the two, go with the 3, forget the 3.2. Now we're down to 3. Between these 3 is everything you need. I don't care what kind of dog you have. You'll get it accomplished here, and you'll see why. Now, when it comes to the 2.25 or the 3.0, my main go-tos, I would use the 2.25 on about 95 to 99% of dogs. This will work. Anything from about 20 pounds up to 180 pounds, I will use this. Now you say, wait a second, Garrett. It only comes in a length of about 16 inches, but my dog's neck is 22, 24, 26 inches. No problem. What we do there is we get more links. You get 2 of these, you cannibalize the links from one, add it to another one, and now you can get one as long as you like it, as big as you need it. We like the 2.25 because it can have the extra power should you need it with a stronger dog, because it's a little more needle-like, a little more bite. So that's why puppies, for a number of reasons, have sharp little puppy teeth like these, because their grip strength isn't quite as powerful as when they're older, so they're able to defend themselves and handle business with those sharp little puppy teeth just like these. These are your sharp little puppy teeth. They can get the message delivered a lot more mildly. Whereas if you go with the 3.0, yeah, it works. You'll have to use this about 2 or 3 times as hard as this. So I would rather deliver a milder leash pop or leash guidance on this tool than have to do it 2 or 3 times harder on this tool to deliver the same message. So this amplifies it. That's why we use this as often as possible. Now, even though it's more powerful, you can still use it as mildly as you like so that it's not powerful at all. So think of it as just having Brembo brakes on your car versus regular factory brakes. I'll take the upgraded brakes all day, every day. So again, about 95 to 99% of the time I use this. And I use these for dogs that are hyper, ultra sensitive to the prong collar, maybe because of bad prong collar training in the past, because this is milder. And then after I get them accustomed to this, I usually switch them right back to this so that I always have that power there should I need it. Now, you might say, oh, my dog has super thick fur and this will never get through the fur. Yes, it will. Trust me when I tell you, this will, because it's so thin, it finds its way through the fur, whereas the thicker stuff is gonna sit more on top of the fur. So that's the name of the game. There are some exceptions to the rule, but kind of pick your poison here. This is gonna solve 99.9% of all dogs right here. This is the one I recommend over this one most of the time. And then what about the little guy? The little guy is exactly what you think it's for the little ones out there. We're talking that 10, 12, 15, maybe up to a 20-pound dog. And same thing, you can make this bigger or smaller by adding links to them. And again, you can either just buy extra links or you can just get a whole secondary collar, cannibalize the first one to make the second one bigger. We do that because it's often cheaper than buying the individual prongs and 1, 2, 3 at a time, making them bigger. So your mileage may vary on that, depending upon how big your dog's neck is. Figure it out, do the math, see how many of these you need. The reason we're using this teensy little one on the little guys is pretty self-explanatory. I want to use as little pressure as possible to deliver the message and provide the guidance that I need. And when I'm talking like less than fingertip pressure to deliver the steering and guidance to your puppy or your adult small dog, this is the way to do it. So enough yapping on the sizes. Hopefully that helped figure it out for you. 2.25 is what you need 99% of the time. If you've got a real small dog, use this. If you have a real sensitive dog, use the 3.0. All right, so we had talked about it before, but one of the things you want to be careful of, especially if you're not using a buckle attachment, if you're doing the old method of just pinching it, after time, the pinch can actually make this thing kind of lose its original shape, making it very easy to slide in and out. See, no pinching needed, and that's not good. So what you'd want to do is come in and stretch it out, but it's hard to do on these 3.0s. One more reason we don't like using them. You can do it, probably have to get some stronger hands than I have, or at least get some type of pliers or something to go ahead and shape these back into shape, because you can't really run this one right now because it's so, it was maybe stepped on, I'm not exactly sure. But either way, always keep an eye on your prong collar. Every time you put it on, give it a quick check. What I like to do is spit it inside out and you can kind of look at the different links and oop, you'll see one that just doesn't look right. Folks, if you want to learn how to properly use the prong collar and make your dog be the best that they can be, I highly encourage you to check us out at DIYcanine.com. Help you train your dog from 0 to hero. We'll see you in the courses. All right, now that we discussed size, now we just got to figure out what material is best for you and your dog. Let me go over your options available. Chrome, Kurrigan, powder coated, black stainless, stainless, and then the little montage that we put together, which is just for fun and for looks, and we like the way it looks. Let's start with chrome. Don't use it. It's that simple. Chrome contains nickel. A lot of dogs' skins are allergic to nickel, and you can have a lot of irritation. Plus, the chrome can crack, chip, fade, rust. Don't use it. Kurrigan, a fantastic option for dogs, especially ones with white fur, and you kind of get a discoloration sometimes when using certain metals. The Kurrigan is supposed to stop that, and it's a little more hypoallergenic. The problem with the Kurrigan is two things. Number one, it can fade over time. I don't mind that. It's kind of like a worn look, like a patina. I think it looks pretty cool. But the other issue I have, especially in the 2.25, I find the Kurrigan's just a little soft. I still use it. Just keep that in mind if you have a dog that's really strong, really hard, pulls a lot, and you plan to use heavier corrections. Kurrigan might not be your best choice because I have seen on heavier corrections, the metal just bends a little bit too easy, a little too soft and pliable, but again, still a solid option. You can go powder coating, but it kind of like the same with chrome plating. The powder coating looks cool, but they don't stand up very well and they rust, and what's underneath the powder coating. So it looks cute, but it doesn't really last. Now we're left with stainless, my favorite options. Regular stainless, black stainless, hypoallergenic naturally, you just pick your color. Now, why would you choose silver over black? There's two trains of thought on that. Number one, let's say you had a black coated dog. If you want to kind of go a little incognito and you don't feel like dealing with what people think about you having a prong collar on your dog or not, if you have a black prong collar on a black coated dog, it's hard to see, which is a bonus, but there's also a con to that. We don't want you to leave your prong collar on your dog forever. We don't want you to accidentally leave it on and put him in a crate. We'll talk about that more in a minute. And so I like to be able to look from a distance and very quickly tell whether or not I may have accidentally left a prong collar on a dog or not. We don't want to just leave them on. And so if we have a black coated dog and we have a silver or a stainless colored prong, I can tell instantly that the dog has it on or does not have it on. So that kind of pro and con can go either way depending upon the color of your coat, your dog's coat, and what you're trying to achieve. But either way, as far as how strong and hypoallergenic, you cannot go wrong with stainless. And then this one was just a fun montage that we used. This is Thanos' collar. It has Kurrigan, black stainless, and regular stainless. I think it looks cool. Obviously, you're gonna have to buy at least 3 different collars to make that happen, but I like it, check it out. Now, what about putting rubber tips on? Absolutely not, completely stupid, I hate it. I'll tell you why. You're gonna lose the rubber tips, they're gonna wear, it's gonna break through anyways, and it doesn't do any good for you. All it does is cause more skin irritation because of allergies. Number 2, it causes more of like a rug burn type of sensation on the dog's neck and can actually rip out fur. Like, it's just pointless, in my opinion, to use them. And for me, it's like, why are you getting Brembo brakes installed if you're gonna ask the mechanic to like, well, can you just like tone down the Brembo brakes? No, better to have all the horsepower there, all the brake there so that you could use it. Better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. Besides, I don't really think the rubber really tones it down that much. I think it's more of like a visual, make you feel better aesthetic that doesn't really do much of anything anyways, other than cause irritation like I mentioned. All right, now we're gonna cover the most important part, and that's making sure this bad boy is fit properly. I'm gonna make this so simple for you. It's something we call the watch test. We want this thing to be snug like a watch. What do I mean? Well, I got some watches here. You tell me which one is fit proper on my wrist. Option 1, we got this thing that's just free spinning. If I jingle my hands, the whole thing just spins around. Obviously, that's not how we want this thing to fit. So let's take that one off. Now we got 2 options left. We got this one, super snug. It's so snug, in fact, that I can't rotate it. It hurts to rotate. That's not good. So we're gonna take this one off. This one's fit properly, and it's what we say, it stays where we want it, but if I needed to move it, we can move it. With a little bit of effort, we can spin it around, and it's still comfortable. It stays right where I need it. It's not jingling around, jangling around, cutting off circulation, or unnecessarily too tight. Now we'll look at Thanos and show you kind of the same thing. You tell me which one's fit properly. We got this one here that's just jangling and just doing whatever it wants. You already know that's no good. Then we got this black one here, a little hard to see, but I'm gonna show you something. Can I rotate it? No, look at his neck. Look what's happening to his whole neck here. And I'm putting pretty good pressure, so that's not good. I don't want it that tight. Maybe for a super high drive working dog, there might be a reason to go super tight like that. Generally speaking though, most of the dogs we want what we call high and tight, right behind the ears, and watch, it is snug, but I can still move it. I can still rotate it. A little more difficult to do when your dog has a super thick coat, so you're gonna have to just experiment with that. But generally speaking, we want it snug like a watch. Just remember that. Don't do any tests where it's like, well, but you can get 2 fingers. Oh, because I can get 2 fingers. I can also get my whole hand in there. I can get 1 finger. So I don't know where that came from, but the 1, 2, 4 finger test, play that game with your girlfriend. Don't play with that on the prong collar because it doesn't make any sense. Snug like a watch and you'll be a winner. Even if it's perfectly sized, it's not if, but when this thing will fail you, which leads me to another point, what we call double hooking. Now, double hooking is when you take your backup collar, which we like to use Jim Hodges Martingale flat collars, the best Martingale collar on the market. You double hook. Now, what does double hook mean? That means you hook your leash here and you hook your leash here, and should your prong collar fail you, you still got your dog. And that's why we use double hooking. Now, when you do double hook, it can diminish a little bit of the power in your prong collar, so there are other options available, such as little safety links and these little micro leashes that you can get that have 2 hooks on either side, so that you hook one here and you hook one here, and if this fails you, you're still hooked up there. I just like to dumb it down and double hook. That's the way to go, baby. Now, speaking of different ways that you can attach, there's something called dead ringing. Now, dead ringing is when you hook up both rings at the same time, not just the top ring, not the bottom ring, together. You hook them together. I don't like doing it. Never do it. Don't feel the need to it. It kind of dumbs the prong collar down, takes out some of the power, and it puts all the pressure more towards the front rather than all the way around. You're defeating the whole point of having the martingale action. Just stick with the martingale action for the most part. I really never dead ring, but in case you wanted to know, that's what dead ringing is. All right, folks, now that you know which prong collar is right for your dog and how to fit it, now we need to show you how to use it. Now, that's gonna take a little bit more time, a little bit more finesse, because there is a whole art and science to it. And it's a huge word of caution here. Do not just put a prong collar on your dog or puppy and start using it. You're absolutely gonna destroy the relationship with your dog. Your dog's gonna hate the prong collar, and it's gonna backfire on you. Instead, I highly encourage you to learn how to do it properly. There's a way you can do that, and that's by checking out our online courses at DIYcanine.com, specifically our Puppy Essentials course and our leashed course. It shows you exactly how to properly introduce the prong collar and get your dog to be butter soft, reliable on the leash, get that amazing, reliable obedience that you need, and stop all of that unwanted bad behaviors, whether it's your dog or puppy, jumping, barking, whining, pulling on the leash, etc., etc. We show you exactly how to fix it in our step-by-step guide. So feel free to check it out, DIYcanine.com. Either way, I really want to thank you for joining us here today. Hope you learned something. See you in the next one.